Hi everyone. In this video, we will see the methods of measuring the process variables. So our first variable is temperature. So in this video, we will learn how temperature is monitored and controlled in a fermentation. Now, the temperature in a vessel or pipe, one of the most important parameters to monitor and control in any process. It may be measured by mercury in glass thermometers or pressure bulb thermometers, thermocouples, metal resistance thermometers, or thermistors. Metal resistance thermometers and thermistors are used in fermentation applications. Accurate mercury in glass thermometers are used for some purposes, whereas cheaper thermometers are still used with laboratory smaller fermenters. So we will be studying three types of temperature sensors here in detail. First one, mercury in glass thermometers. A mercury in glass thermometer may be used directly in a small laboratory scale bench fermenter, but as we know, it's very fragile. So its fragility restricts its use, and this is the reason this thermometer cannot be used in a large production scale or industrial fermenter. And if we still say that I want to use mercury in glass thermometer, even for the production vessel or the large fermenter, it would be necessary to insert that thermometer, okay, into a thermometer pocket in the vessel, and that will introduce a time lag in registering the vessel temperature, and then the measurement would not be accurate. So this type of thermometer can be used only for indication. It's not for automatic control or recording. The next type of temperature sensor is electrical resistance thermometers. Now the principle is that electrical resistance of metals changes with temperature variation. Now whenever there will be a temperature change, there would be temperature variation, the electrical resistance of that metal will change. This is the principle on which these thermometers are based, and the bulb of the instrument contains a resistance element. There is a mica framework or a ceramic framework around which the sensing element is wound. Now, mica framework is for very accurate measurement. Ceramic framework is robust, but it's not very accurate. It's for less accurate measurement. Now, the platinum wire of 100 ohm resistance is normally used in these thermometers, and the leads emerging from the bulb are connected to the measuring element. The reading is obtained by the use of a Wheatstone bridge circuit, and it's a measure of the average temperature of the sensing element. Are these electrical resistance thermometers efficient? Yes, they have a very high accuracy, plus or minus 0.25%. Then some of the other measuring devices, they are very sensitive to small temperature changes. There is a fast response to detectable changes. You may get reading within 1 to 10 seconds. And these thermometers are normally enclosed in stainless steel sheets if they are to be used in large vessels or ancillary equipment. The third type of temperature sensor that we will learn in this video after mercury in glass thermometer and electrical resistance thermometer is a thermistor. Thermistors are semiconductors made from pure oxides of iron, nickel, and other metals. Their main characteristic is large change in resistance with a small temperature change. This change in resistance is a function of the absolute temperature. The temperature reading is obtained with a Wheatstone bridge or a simpler or more complex circuit depending on the application or where you are using. They are very relatively cheap and they are very stable. That is their advantage. Both cheap and stable are the advantages of thermistor, and they give reproducible readings. That's another massive advantage. Now, these two slides were about the sensors used to monitor temperature in a fermentation. Mercury in glass thermometers, electrical resistance thermometers, thermistors. But how would you, this is monitoring. In the previous recording, we have learned that monitoring and control are two different aspects. So these thermometers will just tell you the temperature, that is monitoring. But if there is deviation how would you control the temperature? Let's say the temperature of your fermentation should be 31. These monitoring systems would tell you it's not 31, let's say it's 34. But how would you control? So temperature control, now, normally in the design and construction of a fermenter, there must be provision for temperature control. Now, first of all, why the temperature increases in a fermentation? The heat will be produced by the microbial activity as microorganisms are growing and they are decomposing the carbon sources and nitrogen sources. They are producing heat. Plus, if you are growing them in a mechanically agitated fermenter, the mechanical agitator, the speed of the agitator may also be one of the reasons for the heat production. And on a laboratory scale, in a laboratory small fermenter, in fact, very little heat is generated. And you have to provide extra heat to maintain the temperature by placing the fermenter in a thermostatically controlled bath, or by using internal heating coils, or a heating jacket through which water is circulated, or by a silicone heating jacket. This is to maintain the temperature or increase the temperature in a lab fermenter where the little heat is generated or the temperature is not maintained easily. In the silicone jacket, it consists of a double silicone rubber mat, and there are heating wires between the two mats, and this silicone jacket is wrapped around the fermenter and it's held in place by Velcro strips. But if you talk about the actual industrial fermenters, there you don't have to do all these things, to generate heat. There, in fact, more heat is generated, and there your job is to bring down the temperature in most of the cases. Like your optimum temperature was 31, it has gone up to 35 or 36. So you use chilled water to bring the temperature to the correct temperature. So valves can be used to govern the cooling water flow rate. And this chilled water is circulated from outside. It doesn't go inside the fermenter. Otherwise, it will dilute your culture and broth. It's circulated from outside to control the temperature. And a regulatory valve at the cooling water inlet may be sufficient to control the temperature. There may be provision for circulation of refrigerated brine if excessive cooling is required. So in this video, we learned how temperature is monitored in a fermentation and how it is controlled.